So we bring in an expert on golf, an 11-time National Sports Writer of the Year, my friend Rick Reilly. He's got a new book, So Help Me Golf, Why We Love the Game. I believe it's his fourth book on golf. So he has carved out a part of his life now that I'm very jealous of. Italy, part of the year in golfing, and he is joining us live. So first of all, let's just start with this before we get into the debate part. Rick, are you surprised how quickly many top players, or a handful, pivoted to LIV? Does that surprise you?
I'm amazed. I'm amazed. In the space of one tournament, they've now got 9 major winners, 5 Masters winners. They've got 3 of our biggest superstars in Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and DeChambeau. I mean, these are great players that will now no longer be coming to the local PGA Tour event in your town. They won't be in the President's Cup. There's some doubt that they'll ever be able to play in a Ryder Cup again as long as this goes on. So it's amazing how well this is working. Personally, I think it's disgusting. I would never, you could give me $1 billion and I'm not going to work for the Saudis who provided 15 of the 19 9/11 terrorists, who jailed dissenters, who killed gay people, and on a personal note, murdered journalists. So you can say, well, yeah, we go to China sometimes, and yeah, sometimes Nicholas builds a course in Saudi Arabia. That's bad, and I've been against that from the start. But this is over the top. I can understand geopolitics where we need Saudi Arabian oil. This is golf. There's nobody needs to take Saudi money and they're giving it away like it's monopoly money. I mean, Phil got 200. I'm hearing Dustin actually got 180 million. And they're giving Patrick Reed, table for one, the guy nobody likes, probably got, I'm hearing $50 million. So it's just madness, and it really sucks for golf.
Well, let's talk about this. They're independent contractors. So could I make this argument? For years and years, guys were making more money on – Arnie made more money at Pennzoil. Jack made more money in course design. That the way their taxes were set up, they were, they'd give 15% to charity, and they'd hog a lot of the money, and they should have seen this avalanche coming a decade ago where they weren't paying enough. And in the globalization of the world, Rick, this was bound. It's like the transfer portal or the NIL, that golf is somewhat to blame for this.
You're totally right. You're totally right. They should have seen this coming, and they worried too much about the 125th guy in the rankings and not the first. And here was their worst nightmare. A huge money-whipping country that could just lay giant scads of money on them. And suddenly they're like, well, gosh, I'll lose all my endorsements, and I might not be able to play in any majors, but they're going to give me $150 million, and they're going to give my caddy a hotel room and insurance. And even if I go and play, shoot radio stations, 103 and 107, the worst I'm going to make is $100,000. So you're right. You're totally right. They should have seen this coming. Having said that, it's still disgusting. It's still blood money. And when Phil gets his new jet with the white seats, I hope those bloody checks don't stain the interior.
Tiger's got $1 billion net worth, I just read last week, so I don't see him going over. But I didn't see, Phil Mickelson's different. I mean, I just read Alan Shipnuck on Phil. And, between the gambling and the lifestyle, Phil's running through money like, I'm running through masks for COVID. So that's different. But Phil, I can see. But were you shocked by Dustin Johnson? I don't see Rory.
No, Dustin, I could see, because as I once wrote, he's so dense, light bends around him. I don't think he even knows where Saudi Arabia is. Phil knows. Phil has said many times, the Saudis are mother effers. They murder journalists. They jail gay people. He knows who he's working for. He knows who's signing his check, and he did it anyway. Dustin doesn't think. He just puts ball in hole. And so I was so disappointed in Phil, who I loved until this. I mean, this is the most generous tipper, great guy, joyful. I know, so good with fans. I know people think he's a phony, but I mean, he's a great guy to be around, far more than Tiger ever was. And yet now it's flipped. Tiger is standing up for American golf, standing up for human rights, and Phil's over there blanking out his Masters logo and playing as a man without a country.
What does the PGA do? So rigidity is never the answer. Okay, that's not going to solve anything. Saying we're the PGA and you. That's not going to work. It's not the way the world works. It didn't, at some point the NFL caved to some players, let them celebrate in the end zone, let them have more fun. You have to empower the athletes. So the PGA's got to pivot here, Rick. They've got to do something. Do you have an idea?
Well, keep in mind, the PGA Tour is who's in trouble here.
Yeah.
The PGA of America runs the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup. And I see how the tea leaves are spreading out. The PGA Tour is screwed because all these other companies that run the majors. The tour doesn't run a single major. All they run is the Players and the President's Cup and, a lot of John Deere Buick Classics.
Yeah.
So they're in trouble. So they've got to start having much smaller tournaments, much bigger purses, no cut, take care of the caddies, and maybe charities have to foot the bill and stop getting so much money, which is kind of sad. But the PGA Tour can say all they want. Like yesterday, Monahan goes on and says, remember when you play the PGA Tour, you don't have to apologize for playing it. Well, I think they're in trouble, and I think it's them that's going to have to buckle.
I don't see Tiger or Rory, who, for the record, when people kept saying, because I always felt like Tiger was a comet. He was a once in a lifetime. Like, you just don't get another Tiger. But there was part of me that kind of got lured into Rory. He had the alpha, the chess, the workout, the beautiful girlfriends. There was something about him. I was like, okay, that's the next Tiger or close. He hasn't materialized as that. That said, he's unbelievable. Is there another? I said last week, if Brooks Koepka went over there, boy, you'd start getting my eyeballs a little bit. Phil and Koepka, is there another star out there that you're concerned would take the LIV money?
Bubba's sort of hitting the last third of his career. If Morikawa went, if Jordan Spieth went, if Justin Thomas went, I mean, that'd be so sad because what we're looking at, Colin, is never seeing best versus best again. Can you imagine that in the NBA? Never seeing the Warriors play the Celtics, never seeing Steph, play LeBron. And that's what we're looking at. And it's really, really bad. And it makes me sad. There's no legacy there. There's no tradition. There's no history. These guys are giving up a lot. And I don't think they realize what they're giving up. As they said in Greed, how many yachts can you ski behind? I mean, Dustin Johnson said, I'm doing it for the right thing for my family. Yeah, you're already richer than a Kardashian. How many yachts do you want your kids to have? I mean, have a little morality here.
Yeah. I mean, I said this last week. I said my car's got Saudi oil in it, and I have an iPhone from China, so I don't want to be Mr. Greater than everyone.
That's because America has put you in the position where we don't make enough oil. We don't make enough energy. So when Biden goes over there, whenever he goes over there and is nice to the sheiks, that's because he has to. But nobody has to go over there and play golf. I know. I'm one guy in a lifeboat saying this is wrong and I'm going to lose this. And I think it's sad, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, okay. It's all so fascinating. So how about this? Greg Norman's always, and I love Norman, but he's always kind of been about the money. Does it... What do you make of Norman? Because he's kind of front and center on this. Well,
Norman has always not felt comfortable or happy with how he was represented. He always, he got burned. Everybody either chipped in or knocked it in from the fairway. Larry Mize, Bob Tway from the bunker at the PGA. He's always felt just screwed. So 25 years ago, he tried to start this all-world tour, and he kept getting laughed at. And now he finally found somebody with stupid money. And so he's finally getting the last laugh. But it's very hard to make Greg Norman happy. I covered him in his prime. He was the Tiger Woods of his time. He just couldn't pull the trigger like Tiger can. No one since Nicklaus has been able to pull the trigger on Sunday like Tiger can. And so Shark is really finally getting some satisfaction. But, I know Shark, and he'll screw this up. He'll screw this up somehow. I mean, he's already said, hey, yeah, they killed a journalist, but everybody makes mistakes. So you're kind of like, Shark, stay away from the microphones.
By the way, if you walked by Phil Mickelson today, I just finished the book. I love it. And by the way, Rick's got a new book, So Help Me Golf, Why We Love the Game. It was released in early May. It is now June. Buy it. There's a beautiful picture of it. Nobody writes about golf like Rick. So if you, God, it's just Phil is such a just a big personality. What would you say if you what would you say if you ran into him tonight at dinner in Iowa where you're at?
I said, Phil, once again, you overthought this. You're the dumbest smart guy I ever met. He used to tell us, don't wear sunblock. It's worse for your skin than the sun. I'm like, no, and never say that publicly. I mean, one time he was at the Masters and he goes, I'm going to win this. I said, how come? Well, we looked at all the yardage books and we found out I don't hit 5-iron. And then, of course, he shot 77 the first day. And I found bones and I said, I bet you needed that 5-iron today. He said, practically every hole. So, as usual, Phil thinks he's somehow saving the PGA Tour by going with their competition, kind of like a guy sleeps with his secretary to improve his marriage. It's not doable. Whatever your dumb idea is, Phil, it's not working. So I'd say, please come back. Please come back. The PGA Tour would take you back. They've banned you for, they haven't said how long. They've just banned you. They can take that back. Please come back to American golf. By the way, buddy, that's 3 times you've mentioned Shipnuck's Phil book. When are you going to read my book? My book's fun. It has no murderers in it. It has no gambling in it. Okay. It's actually just fun golf stories that I've saved for 40 years for this book. I've been writing it for 40 years, and it's really been fun to talk about. So someday over a beer down in Hermosa, I can tell you some of these stories, like the time 4 guys made holes in one because a kid was secretly sneaking out and putting the balls in the hole on a blind par 3 in Ireland. It's a lot of fun stories. And I think I've told you, my dad was a drunk golfer, and I hated golf till I was 12 years old because he came home and he was, violent. And so to get golf back and find out golf wasn't my problem in my home, it was my dad's problem. To get that back, I think is why I've attached so closely to it, and really it's woven itself through the fabric of my life, and that's what the book's about.
By the way, the book is called "So Help Me Golf: Why We Love the Game." I told Rick.
Oh, now you're nice.
But no, listen, I had to bring that up because he was on my show, and we all know you guys are, you guys are studs. So, but I told Rick a couple years ago, I saw him at a coffee shop in LA, and I said, hey, I'm playing tennis. And Rick said, every court's the same. It's so boring. And
every court's the same, whether you're in Indonesia, Florida, or South America. In golf, every shot's different, much less every hole, every course. And by the way, can you have the world's best food at the turn, like the burger dog at Olympic, or the lobster chowder at the National? Come on, Colin, get with the game. That it takes 4.5 hours, but who wants to go home?
That's
tennis, you're done in an hour and a half and you're back doing chores.
Yeah, and I gave up tennis, as Joy knows, because you're basically planting your foot for 2 hours in cement, and my knee gave way. And I can,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's just it's a great sport, but I'm going to go back to golf. All right, put it up there again. So Help Me Golf: Why We Love the Game. Have your publisher send me one, and I'll put it all over Twitter and the kind of stuff like that. And don't be afraid to call. Where you live, I got a nice restaurant. I could take you out for lunch and your beautiful wife if you ever got a hold of me.
Dude, I go there all the time. I even go for the comedy nights.
Oh, look at that. You're really committed to the brew hall.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're 3 blocks from my house.
Great talking to you, Rick. Absolute pleasure. You look fantastic. So Help Me Golf: Why We Love the Game. And we will talk soon.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Eat your heart out, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I am. Well, green with envy.